Hello and welcome back to Maqam Lessons. My name is Sami Abushamez, and before I get started, huge thanks to all the subscribers, people who've been watching the video series so far, and especially to my Patreon supporters. You guys are really encouraging me to keep going with this series, so thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon, please follow the link in the description, and of course click like and subscribe on this video. So today we are doing Maqam Kirdan, which is a version of Maqam Rast that starts at the octave. Now Maqam Kirdan is made up, this version that we're going to do today is made up of 5 ajnas. And they're covered in previous videos. So I'm going to show you these right now. So if you have not yet watched the videos on Jins Rast, Jins Nahawand, Jins Hijaz, and Jins Upper Rast, you'll find that this video is going to make a lot more sense to you after you've spent time with those videos. Of course, you can watch this one and then go back to those and come back here. But the whole point is that deeper familiarity with the ajnas in Arabic music is going to help you understand how the maqam flows back and forth. So let's just start without talking any further with some basic phrases. Repeat after me, and I encourage the instrumentalists to do this first with your voices and then pick up your instruments. I'm doing this in a good key today. This is going to be in Rast on G. Towards the end of the video, we'll do a little bit of Rast on C. But anyway, although you will be able to play along with your instruments easily this time, please put them down, sing first, and then do it the second time around with your voice. So repeat after me, and you could sing along with the repeat of each phrase. Ya Laini, ya Laini, ya Lain. Ya Laini, ya Laini, ya Lain. Ya Lain, ya Lain. Ya Layli, ya Layl, ya Layli, ya Layl, ya Layl, ya Layl, ya Layni, ya Layl, Ya Layni, ya Layl, ya Layli, ya Layl, ya Layli, ya Layl, ya Layli, ya Layl, ya Layli, ya Layli, ya Layl, ya Layl, ya Layl, ya Layl, ya I'm going to do that last phrase combined. Yalil, 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 yalil. So we start the maqam in jins upper rust. That is the jins that leads up to the octave tonic. That's jins upper rust, stretching between D and G. You can hear that this is the tonic and that this is the leading tone. So this is jins upper rust. And the most basic form of the sayr of this maqam, and the sayr just means the direction, the pathway through the ajnas. The most basic form goes from rust, this upper rust, to nahawand, and then down to the octave. I'm going to play it for you once, and then we'll sing through it, and I'll identify the ajnas. So I went through all three ajnas very quickly. This is another reason you want to make sure that you're spending time with those jins lessons, so you hear the changes quickly. But let me show you exactly what's happening using our chart again. So we're going to be focusing first on just the top part of this chart. Okay? So starting in upper rust, yalin, yalin, yalil, 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 yalil. And that last phrase we did was the phrase moving to nahawand. Yalil, yalil, down to the rust at the bottom. Yalin, yalin. Actually, let me just quickly sing for you, and I'll move my fingers so you just hear it. Yalin, yalin, yalil, yalil. That's the most basic version of this maqam. And you can hear it in popular song like Yamal Hashem. Yamal Hashem, Yalla Yamali, Tal al-Mattal, Ya Hillu Tali. Okay, so that is this very basic form of the maqam. And this basic form of the maqam is also the form that you will see in almost every branch version of Maqam Rast. This is going to be the concluding phrase for almost everything. This upper rust to nahawand going down. And if you want to listen very carefully for the note name, I'm going to use these numbers here. This is the octave, we'll call it 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So sing with me. 8, 7, 6. 8, 7, 6. 8, 7, 6, 5. 8, 7, 6, 5. And now the switch to nahawand. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, do you notice which scale degree changed from Rast to nahawand? Take a guess. For those of you who guessed 7, you were right. 8, 7, 8, 7. That's in upper Rast. And then 8, 7, 8, 7 in nahawand. 8, 7, 6, 5 is the jins nahawand on the 5th scale degree of Rast, and 8, 7, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8 is Jins upper Rast stretching between 5 and 8. So let's just do a couple phrases, again, call and response style, to illustrate this basic sayr. So repeat after me. Ya Layli, Ya Layl. Ya Layli, Ya Layl. Ya Layli, Ya Layli. 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 Ya Layl, Ya Layl, Ya Layl, Ya Layl, Ya Layl. That was the Nahawand. Ya Layl, Ya Layl. So that's that very basic sayr. Now we're going to add one more jins to the mix. We did it a little bit before. We're going to add jins hijaz. Okay? So let me again do what I did before and illustrate it for you just by singing it. And you guys can copy. And then we'll do a little bit more together. So starting with upper Rast. Ya lain, ya lain. Ya lain, ya lain. Ya Layli, Ya Layl. Ya Layli, Ya Layl. Ya Layli, Ya Layli. Ya Layl, Ya Layl. And that very basic formula you find as another variation on this. I'm going to give you one more illustration from a song for this, and this is sort of our stereotypical song that we can use. Yashad al-Alhan. And Yashad al-Alhan illustrates these 4 ajnas very well. So I'll sing it for you, but you guys can sing along. You should learn to sing the song, even if your Arabic is weak, like mine. يشهد الألحان أسمعنا رنة العيدان يا للي يا للا يا للي رنة العيدان هي أسمعنا يا لا لا لي يا لا 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 يا لا لي. So you get the picture. You can also see this analyzed on my website, maqamlessons.com. I have them broken down by jins. Another great example, and we're going to look at both of these examples in more detail in the next lesson, where we do a more full analysis of Hayran Alay. But Hayran Alay adds one more jins to it, which is that Rast on the octave. So let me do that for you. Hayran Alay بين القلوب خليتي قلبي راح يدوب حيران لي. That's the flat 7. حيران لي حيران لي. The Hijaz flat 6, 7 raised. حيران لي بين القلوب حيرانة ليه. So both Yashad al-Alhan and Hayran Aleh illustrate this use of Hijaz. And you'll notice the Hijaz was super quick. We didn't spend a lot of time on the Hijaz. We passed through it just like we did with the Nahawand. So that is the important thing to remember about this particular Sayr for Maqam Rast, is that the passing motion between Nahawand and Hijaz is crucial. It's a central part of the Maqam. So let's do some phrases. First I'll do it without talking about it, and then next time I'll talk about it. Ya Lil, Ya Lil, Ya Lil, Ya Lil, Ya Layli, Ya Lil, Ya Layli, 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 Ya Layl, Ya Layl, Ya Layl, Ya Layl. And remember, if the phrases are too long for you to catch the first time around, to just try to start where I start, end where I end, and don't worry so much about all the detail in the middle. It's better if you just repeat over and over again to try to get the whole thing, and make sure you're paying attention to the melodic rhythm. Okay, so now I'm going to do it, and I'm going to name when we get to each jins. Starting, as always, with upper rust. Ya Layli, Ya Layl, Ya Layli, Ya Layl, Ya Layl, Ya Layl, Ya Layl, Ya Layl, Ya Layl, Ya Layni. That is rust on the octave. Ya Layni, Ya Layl. Back to upper rust. Ya Layl, Ya Layli. Nahawand. Ya Layli, Ya Layli, Ya Layl, Ya Layli, Ya Layl. Hijaz now. Ya Layli, Ya Layli. Now rust at the bottom. Ya Layl, Ya Layl. Now, another thing I want you to notice is we've done things in a particular order. We went from upper rust to Nahawand to Hijaz and down to rust. But I want you to see this diagram and look at the lines between the ajnas, because these are two-way lines unless there's an arrow. The Nahawand always goes down. You don't usually go up from rust to Nahawand, at least in this particular Sayr. In other versions of Maqam Rast, you can go up. But in this Sayr, Nahawand always points down. And you don't go up from the Nahawand on 5 up to the rust on the octave. You use this rust. So in any case, these three can happen in any order. Okay, so now I'm going to sing some phrases with you. I'm going to use my finger, and we're going to go in different orders. So you can just sort of see that. We're not going to worry about the rust on the octave. We're just going to go in different orders here so you see And then at the end, we're going to use the Nahawand to get back down. Yanin, 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 yalili, yalil, yalili, yalil, yalili, yalil, yaini, yalil, yalili, yalil, 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 yalili, yalili, yalil, yalili, yalili, yalil, yalini, yalini. Notice how I went this way, straight to the Hijaz. Yalil, yalil, yalili, yalili, yanin, 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 Yalin. You get the picture? We can move all around, and we're still within the same basic maqam, right? We haven't modulated to a different maqam. We're not in Maqam Suznak. We're not in Maqam Suzdalar. These are versions of Rast with Nahawan and Hijaz on the top. We'll get to those in future lessons. But this is the maqam. It includes all of these ajnas. This is why I, in the book Inside Arabic Music, dispute the traditional definition of maqam as two ajnas stacked in a scale. Because you see these melodies like Hayran Alay, Yashadil al-Han, that use this whole network in a very short span of time to get these melodies. So those are the melodies. You can go back to the ones I didn't identify. I highly recommend you do that. Go back to the beginning of this lesson where I didn't identify. Try to catch, when am I doing the Nahawand on 5? When am I doing the Hijaz on 5? And when, of course, is the upper Rast and the Rast. I'm going to show you one more thing, which is the scale degrees. Oops. The scale degrees, and I'm going to use again to just sort of show you that sense. And you see I'm using the same color coordination. I like colors, not because you have to use them, just because, they illustrate something nice, the differences between them. But the colors are purely arbitrary. So I'm going to do the same thing we just did. I'm going to show you, actually, instead of the melodies, we're going to do some scale exercises. So let's do the scale exercises starting with upper Rast. 8, 7, 8, 8, 7, 8, 7, 6, 7, 7, 6, 7, 6, 5, 6, 6, 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 5, 4, 5, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1. And now, of course, you want to use this exercise to build your muscle memory for those interval sizes. The difference between 4, 3, 4, and 8, 7, 8, which are both intervals that you won't be used to if you're not really had a lot of time with Arabic music, right? Those are like a 3/4 step interval is what we might call it, although it's not exact. That's a bigger subject. So use your instrument, use different vowel sounds. Let's do it. E, 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 E. Now let's do the Nahawand. E, 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 E. You notice how close the 7 and the 6 are? As opposed to 8, 7, 6, 5, 8, 7, 6, 5, 7, 6, 7, ooh, and let's do Hijaz. Ooh, 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 ooh. Now this low 6, flat 6, you see how it's different than the other two, right? This is why in this particular Sayr, when you get this flat 6, you know that you're in Jins Hijaz, even if you don't use all of Jins Hijaz. This is a really important point, because when you really have a feeling for the ajnas and you really know them super well, when they come, even one note can identify it. So let me just sing an example for you, and I'll show you when we get there, and you can identify the feeling of Jins Hijaz even if we don't use the whole melody. Ya layni ya layn, ya layni ya layni ya layn, ya layni ya layni ya layni ya layn, ya layn. You notice how I did this? Yeah. I didn't do any of these notes, but we were still using Jins Hijaz. Ya layli. Sing that with me. Ya layli. Ya layl. Ya layl. Ya layl. See how, again, these ajnas. And we can go up here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's why I'm doing this on G, because that may be high range. We didn't do too many melodies here, but that's an important part of the Sayr. Ya layni ya layn, ya layni ya layn, ya layni ya layn, ya layni ya layn, ya Ya layl, ya layl, ya layl, ya layl, ya layl. So before we go, let me just give you a minute in a different key. So to review, you want to do some scalar exercises. Make sure you go and watch again the Jins videos on those 4 ajnas. And make sure that you really learn Yashad al-Alhan and Hayran alay. We're going to be discussing them in more detail in the next lesson. And they're such a great illustration of this particular maqam. And they're such important pieces in the repertory that you really have to know them if you want to develop in Arabic music and a lot of other people know them. So they're great songs that you'll have a chance to play with other people, hopefully, or sing with other people. And the recordings of Hayran Alay by Layla Murad are actually on this key of G, Rast on G. So it's a great way. Go practice along with that recording. Yashad al-Alhan is very popular, has been done by so many singers in a bunch of different keys. So just listen for that melody, and you can use whatever key you're in to practice. But let's go to C. C is another popular key for instrumentalists. Male singers will probably sing Rast on this key. Abdul Wahab has several mawawil in Maqam Rast. You should go listen to those. Some of them start in this Kirdan. So let me just do the notes with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7. That's the flat 7 of Nahawan. 6, 5, and Hijaz 8, 7, 6, 5. Okay, so let's just do a few quick phrases. And if this is high for you, then sing in a lower octave. But instrumentalists should be pretty happy here. Ya Layl, 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 Ya Layl. And I didn't use the Hijaz there. I just did the most basic version of the Sayr that uses upper Rast and Nahawand. Now I'm going to do one that uses Hijaz. And it's your job to figure out when I do the modulation from Nahawand to Hijaz. Ya Layl, 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 Ya Layl. Once again, huge thanks to my Patreon supporters, subscribers, and everyone who's watching these videos. I really appreciate it. I hope you're getting what you want out of it. We'll keep going for a while. I'm going to end. I just composed a dulab this morning in this Maqam Kirdan. So I'll play it for you. Enjoy.